we're gonna make this. Alright, we're gonna get straight into it. First thing we're gonna do is add a track. We're not gonna use the browser where there's like a little loop you can select. We're gonna do it from scratch so y'all know how to make your own melodies. And we're gonna start with this piano, but we'll change it later. I'm gonna click on piano roll. Now right here we got the piano roll. This is where you can draw in your own notes. Alright, so what you want to do for dark melodies is start with a scale, and in this case we're going to use a minor scale. Now there's a few different types of scales that sound dark, but here's a picture of melodic minor scales that you can use. So you just use the notes that are highlighted and you'll have a dark sound. Now I'm going to show you how to do this with A minor. A minor is all the white keys. So if you need this guide, go ahead and screenshot it so you can use it later. But we're going to use A minor. It's all the white keys. We're going to use the pen tool. We're going to draw on our first note. And our tempo is at 165, by the way. So if you want a faster melody, you can set it to 165. You can go higher, as high as you want. You can go slower if you want a slower beat. Alright. So this is an A. An octave is a higher note or a lower note. But it's the same note. So if you hold this, it says A2. And an octave would be A3. That's an octave up. Or A1, an octave down from where we were at the beginning and 2 octaves down from here. But we're going to start here and we're going to play with octaves, right? So let's add an A up here. And then there's another thing called a fifth. A fifth is going to be 5 notes up. So you're looking at the notes that are highlighted on the guide with all the scales on it. And we got 5. Let's hear what this sounds like. Now that sounds pretty cool. So now what we could do is zoom in. And we could use something called half steps. So half steps are where there are 2 notes next to each other based on that guide. So we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we get to A again. So the half steps are here. E and F, and B and C. So you can even just use those if you wanted to create a melody, but you know that you're in A minor while you're doing it. So what we can do is shorten these notes. So now we got a half step right here. And we can add another one, as many as you want. Do whatever sounds good to you and experiment with where you're putting them. So this is the 5th right here. And we have this, which is the 6th note of the scale. And we could put that right there. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, that's cool. So now what we're gonna do is copy these notes over. So we got the mouse tool. You can either hold down Option on a Mac and copy them over. Another way you could do it is to select all the notes, right click, copy, right click again, paste, and you drag them in place. So let's hear what this sounds like. And that sounds pretty cool. So let's do it again. I'm gonna select the notes and drag them over. Now in this 4th box here, we want to make it different. We want to do something different with the 4th box so it doesn't sound too repetitive. So we're gonna drag this down. And let's hear that. Alright, that sounds good to me. So let's duplicate this again. And I'm doing that by holding down Option on a Mac. Alright, now this second half, we're gonna do a little trick. Instead of keeping it all the notes the same, we're gonna bring them down. We're gonna count to 5. So 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Now what we're going to check and see is which notes aren't in key anymore. So right now the only note I see is this. So you're just going to drag them wherever you want. I'm just going to go down. Whoops, let's undo that. Gonna go down. I'll zoom in to move it. Alright, and now all the notes are in key again. So let's hear what that sounds like from the beginning with the second half. Drop down 5 times. Alright, and that sounds pretty good. Another trick you can use is, instead of dropping it down 5 times, you could drop it down an octave. And remember, an octave is the same note, but either higher or lower. But we're going to drop it down. So we started up here. A, and we're going to go down to this A. Oh, we forgot to change this. So we got to change that. Alright. Let's hear that. I don't know about you, but I like the 5th better. And you can always play with different options when you're making your melodies, because you never know what's going to sound good based on what notes you drew. You don't have to draw your notes exactly how I did it, so you know, have fun with it. Cool. Alright, so this is what we're going to settle on, and you can add in as many more notes as you want to. Just follow that scale. Okay, so when you're adding notes, if you want to embellish it, so to speak, embellish is when you kind of make something better. Zoom out. You can add low notes. You can add high notes. If you add low notes, your bass is going to have to complement it. So keep that in mind. Depending on how high or how low your melody is, if you're all the way down here, you're getting into bass notes. So you got to make sure everything doesn't clash. But for now, we're just going to focus on the piano because we're making a melody. Alright, so we'll focus on those same notes, the octaves, the fifths, and the half steps. And you could also do some of the notes that aren't octaves, fifths, or half steps. So those notes would be here. And you got this one. So try adding those notes in places too. So let's grab the pen tool, see what this sounds like. Maybe put it here. And then we can add a note there. And try that. Let's see what it sounds like. That sounds cool to me. So we could try to use that same pattern over here. Then we went up to the next note, and we went up to the next note. See what that sounds like. We could also keep these the same notes as they were on the other side. wrong place, my bad. B, B, D. There we go. Let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, cool. So now we got our basic melody. We added some notes on top of it, and you could bring these up even higher if you wanted to, you know. Feel free to use the full key range. Key range is all the notes. We could add some low notes. So we could add a bass line, kind of build in a bass line to the piano. So we're using A minor. And it could be as simple as this. And I'll show you a more intricate way in a second. And then you can match this note. So what we did was we matched the lowest notes of the melodies, which would be A and E. And A is our root note because we're using A minor. Now what you can do is turn these down if you want to. So you just click on it and drag downwards so they're not as loud. And you could kind of make them the same level, or you can play with doing it different. Alright, let's hear it. As far as repetition, it doesn't have to be 4 times. You could do longer notes, less times. You could do a different rhythm even. Whoops, let's go back to the mouse tool. You could start it here if you wanted it to. See what that sounds like? You know, just create a melody with it. So instead of doing it straight through, I'm gonna show you a little bit something that's a little bit more advanced. Now you could play a melody with the bottom notes too, as long as they match the top notes. So we could try something like this. And play it if you want to hear it first. We're gonna do something like that. So let's figure out how to do that. So it needs to be shorter. Let's try that. That sounds dope. Alright, now we'll come down here again for the second part. Now for the second half, you could take these same notes, copy them over, and then drop it down 5 times just like you did those other melody notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and whatever's not in scale, you gotta go in and fix it. Alright, so I need to go down one more time. And that might sound good, so you could try it. If it's out of key, it might still sound good. So I don't really like this note being right here. So I'm gonna bring it back down. And we can add some variation right here. So let's try. And this note right here, we can match these notes. So that's an F and that's a G. So let's try that. So that sounds good. We got a melody. With the basic melody, we added a top note. You can add as many more top notes as you want to, and we got bass. Alright, so that is how you make a dark melody in Soundtrap. Now, to take it a step further, of course you don't have to use the grand piano. So we can go in here and pick a different sound. So we have pianos, and we got synths, we got strings, brass, guitar. You can make it a guitar, and I'll show you how to make guitar melodies in another video. So this is my favorite section for sounds, right? So let's use the kalimba, and let's hear what that sounds like. Next. It's a little too much tension. Tension is when it kind of rings out too long and it sounds bad. So we're gonna bring this up 12, which is an octave, and it might sound a little better. Let's see. Now you could go as far as you want to. Keep going through the sounds, go through the other folders, see which ones you like. You're gonna find some of your favorite sounds that'll be your go-tos for your next melodies, and you'll be able to do other stuff with them. But just have fun, take what you learned in this video and experiment with it. Definitely let me know what you would like to see next. It's all culture, kick back, and cook up.